We are visiting DOVRA in Sweden. We are here in Sweden at the company DOVRA. Next to me is Johan, one of the founders, and they have invited us here today to film the vehicles in production.
And warmly welcome, Mimobil and Lisa. We are super glad to have you here as a visitor, and our cooperation with you in Germany will be super terrific.
I hope so. So Johan, tell us, what's the reason behind DOVRA?
It's a quite simple reason. From the beginning, me and my co-worker, we were sitting and talking and trying to find the best motorhome in the market, and we couldn't find a product that in our opinion was good enough. Mm-hmm. So after a long discussion back and forth months, we decided that we think we can do this in our way, with the product we want to have. And that is actually that day we started to create this product.
And the result is standing behind of us.
Attention! Before we get started with the video, here are 3 important pieces of information. We are the company Mimobil from Germany, and we are motorhome dealers and partners of DOVRA. You can find us 20 minutes away from Stuttgart Airport. We permanently and consistently have both DOVRA models, both the short and the long versions, always available and ready here in our showroom. DOVRA is still a relatively young brand and currently has dealers in Sweden and Germany. If you are from another country, feel free to contact us. We take care of how the vehicle can be registered in your country and what is needed for the export, and ensure all necessary documentation is complete. The videos were recorded in German and then automatically translated into various languages using artificial intelligence. There may be some small translation errors here, slightly. If that is the case, please excuse it. This is simply due to the automatic translation. We ourselves speak German and English. If you come from another country and would like to ask questions or concerns in your native language, just send us an email. We can easily and efficiently translate that information and respond accordingly to it. Now, please enjoy the video.
The DOVRA comes in 2 variants. Variant No. One is the RIG X-610, which is the short one at 610M with a transverse bed. It has 4.1 tons. And then there is also the long one, the RIG X-750. It is 750 met long, has 5.2 tons, longitudinal beds in the rear, and an extremely large kitchen. We are a new dealer of DOVRA, and we chose the brand for specific reasons. We have been here in Sweden for 2 days and have looked at everything in detail. And the reasons why we chose DOVRA are, on the one hand, the vehicles are absolutely winterproof. We have sensational insulation, really with 80 millimeter thickness in the walls. I don't know of any other vehicle that is insulated this thick. We have a great heating system with an ALDA hot water heating system in the floor and also in the walls. This means we have convection heat, and it is further complemented by a diesel Webasto heater. Another reason for choosing DOVRA is autonomy. We have an electrical package on board with a 400 amp-hour lithium battery, a 3000 watt inverter, a separate battery management system, and no charge booster, but a diode, so we can charge up to 100 amps into the battery while driving. This is further topped off with a 400 watt solar system on top. One is virtually endlessly autonomous in terms of electricity. Another advantage of DOVRA is that it comes fully equipped. There is no options list. The vehicle always comes complete from the factory, and everything is designed for its intended use as a motorhome, allowing for long trips, even off-road. Everything is optimized for that purpose. On one hand, it makes it much easier for the customer to decide. They simply say, DOVRA, yes or no. And for us as dealers, as sellers, it also makes it easier because we don't have to discuss individual options. Of course, the DOVRA can be further customized to meet individual needs. That's where we as dealers come into play. We have a large workshop and experience in customizing off-road vehicles, as we also do with Mixtura. The simple and comfortable operation is another hallmark of DOVRA. All controls can be managed on display: refrigerator, heating, water pump, awning, and so on. And this all works not only through the one display, but also through the display in the driver's cabin of the Mercedes, and everything through the MBAC app the Mercedes-Benz Advanced Control app, DOVRA specifically designs many of their components on-site and sources them from local suppliers. This means they can customize the components exactly to their needs and have maximum control over the quality. The founders of DOVRA come from the furniture industry, and you can see that in the vehicle, we have an absolutely solid furniture construction that is stylish in its Nordic design, but also truly made for tough off-road use. In this video, we will present both floor plans as well as all the aforementioned features of the DOVRA brand in detail. That's why we also call the video an unboxing video. The DOVRA is like a package that we unpack and discuss in every detail. 2001. Briefly about the structure of this video. It is divided into different chapters. You can also jump directly to the information you are looking for. We will present both vehicles together. They are exactly the same in the seating area, bathroom, and exterior components. Where they differ is in the kitchen and sleeping area. And now I would say, let's get started. Yes, as is fitting for a vehicle from Sweden, we have a great heating system and really good insulation inside. We see the vehicle completely stripped down behind me, and it is in the perfect condition to show which heating systems and insulation materials are used here. We start with the heating. The vehicle is equipped with old hot water heating system and a diesel Webasto heater. This is an absolute special feature. We have 3 types of energy for heating: diesel for the Webasto heater and gas and electricity for the ALDE heater. The nice thing about the ALDE heater is that we have very pleasant radiant heat and no forced air heating. Here, the ALDE is even installed with underfloor heating. This means we have these heating pipes and aluminum perforated plates are laid over them to ensure the heat is evenly distributed. As a result, just like at home with underfloor heating, the floor becomes nicely warm. Here we can see how a heating pipe goes up. Later, when the insulation in the wall is retrofitted, radiators will be attached to the wall. These are just small fins. Hot liquid flows through the finned plate here, gets warm, and thus warms the air. The warm air then rises back there, goes up through the cabinets, cools down again, and sinks here. So we have a cozy warmth all around without the heating effect of a blower. When you turn off a blower heater, it feels immediately cold in the vehicle. With an ALDE heater, we have a nice cozy base warmth in the vehicle. Let's come to this beautiful component here. This is the heat exchanger between the ALDE hot water heating system and the Webasto diesel heater. I had already mentioned at the beginning that there is also a diesel heater in the vehicle. Normally, diesel heaters are always blower heaters. In this case, the Webasto heater, which has 5.5 kW by the way, is connected to the ALDE heating circuit. This means we get the same radiant heat concept back here, even when we heat with diesel, 2001. However, we can also switch it the other way around. This means we turn on our ALDE at the back and channel the heat forward into the engine compartment to preheat our engine in winter. It is important to know that we always get the maximum heating output in the living area from the original configuration of the ALDE. So when we heat with gas or electricity, the Webasto diesel heater, when we use the heat exchanger, it does get warm at the back, but never as cozy warm as with the ALDE. This is simply meant for the case that should occur I am traveling in winter, I run out of gas, then I can still heat with the diesel heater in an emergency. We are simply maximally flexible with this heating combination. We can use gas, which we always actually have with us. We can use electricity as soon as we are plugged into shore power. Attention, it only works limitedly in an autonomous mode because the heater simply draws a lot of power, and we can also use diesel. What is really special about this vehicle is the strength of the insulation and the materials used for insulation. Here on the table, we see all the materials used for insulation. We have very solid material which is used, for example, in the floor. We have relatively soft material which is used in the ceiling, and then a hybrid in between, and this here. We are insulated with 50 millimeters in the ceiling, and this is exactly what goes in here. This is recycled peeling, so it is not organic material. If it should ever get damp due to a leak, nothing modern will happen and it won't mold. In the walls, we even have 80 millimeters of insulation. I don't know any other manufacturer that has such thick wall insulation. These are then 2 of these mats stacked on top of each other. What is also important to know is that DOVRA does not glue the insulation, it is simply pressed in. This means the 2001, this thing goes there, the cladding goes on top, and then it is simply clamped in between. Of course, everything is done very precisely. Where you can see this quite well is here at the rear door. Here, the cladding has already been removed by Mercedes, and this part fits perfectly in here. This is cut with a laser so that it doesn't fray in any weird way. It fits perfectly, and a huge effort is really made here because the entire vehicle is first taken apart so that we can access every cavity inside. 2001. That DOVRA really takes insulation to the next level is evident in such small details here. For example, we have the beam up here. This little piece of insulation is indeed really pulled in here, so no effort or trouble is spared to provide a perfectly comprehensive insulation. We are also really thickly insulated in the floor with 40 mm compared to other van manufacturers. Here, the harder recycled PET is used, of course, because this is where you walk on. Here too, you can see that the ribs are really individually adjusted, so the insulation fits perfectly in here. It continues with fine insulation details, specifically here at the driver's seats. This is always a cold bridge, as they are directly bolted to the vehicle below. Metal is a good conductor of heat, but also of cold. So, it tends to be cold around the driver's seats in every van. DOVRA addresses this by placing heating elements all around later, and also by packing insulation material around the box again, in order to effectively and efficiently maintain the desired temperature. So it is properly wrapped, and in the end an aesthetic covering is placed over it because, of course, while it is a great material, it doesn't look nice. Here too, you can see that the entire driver's cabin ceiling has been dismantled. Again, thick insulation material is applied, and of course it will be nicely covered afterwards. Johan, one of the DOVRA founders, told me that the vehicle was tested in the ALDE cold chamber and according to ALDE achieved one of the best results ever for a van. Once you have seen all these details, you believe it, and in the end, it is also a justification for the rather high price. Of course, the flares on the DOVRA are also insulated, which is special because usually they are simply cut out of the body, the widening is inserted, and that's it. Here, the first special feature is that the flare is not made of fiberglass, GFK, but of ABS. Why not fiberglass? Well, when you are off-road and pass by a bush or something, with some stronger branches, fiberglass can break, but ABS cannot. ABS is somewhat elastic and can give way. The entire insulation is 20 mm thick, and you can see it nicely here. This is basically the wall paneling inside the bed, and from the back it looks like this. In the raw material it is like this. It is heated and then pressed into the shape it needs in the end. On the passenger side, the flare is not quite as deep because the sliding door still needs to fit over it. It really just works. And when we look in here, we can see quite nicely that it is deep here, not quite as deep there, and how the insulation is really drawn into the flare. Of course, the cab doors are also insulated. The entire paneling here is removed, and the same insulation material is placed behind it as we have behind the cab seats or around the cab seats. It is packed in, and the entire paneling is reattached. In the disassembled state, the ALDE heating sits back here. By the way, the ALDE is the 33. One must imagine that along this entire wall, convectors run approximately up to this height here at the front. Here at the front, the pipe goes down, where the heat exchanger from the Webasto heating system is located. The pipe runs along the front and along the side here. Then here comes the kitchen unit. It continues here. Behind the kitchen unit, it goes up again, and then the convectors continue here. It is quite interesting to see here where the line for the underfloor heating branches off, which then rises up over there. The convectors go all the way to the back, and here the line goes down again. And here we can see it already in the installed state. Behind this perforated sheet metal at the back, convectors also run along. This is important here at the back in the area of the rear doors. We can insulate. The rear doors are always a bit of a cold bridge, and the cold is heated away here. Under the cover here is the wastewater tank. It is, of course, insulated 2001 and also heated. You don't have to think about anything. The heating system automatically turns on as soon as the temperature drops below 5 degrees and heats until 10 degrees are reached. And it only heats when there is water in the tank. The vehicle is really designed for extreme winter conditions. The wastewater tank is already heated. What is also heated here is the drain valve for the wastewater tank. It must be manually turned on via a switch, which is located on the driver's side under the bed. 5 minutes before you want to drain the wastewater, you turn it on, then everything thaws here and is no longer frozen. You drain the wastewater and then turn it off again.
Otherwise, it heats continuously. In terms of power, it wouldn't be 1,000. No problem with this vehicle, but we don't want to waste it. Of course, you don't have to open the wastewater manually here. It operates electrically. And I can activate this switch electrically, either via the control panel at the front in the Mercedes driver's cabin, or via the control panel above the door, or through the MBAC app on my phone. Let's talk about the technology of the DOVRA. We are really set up to be fully autonomous here. The vehicle comes with two 200A lithium batteries, so a total of 400, and a 3,000-watt inverter, all from Victron. The inverter is the Multiplus, so it is both a charger and an inverter in one. And now let's take a closer look at it. In this compartment, all the technology is neatly stored, and we will go through it from top to bottom. At the very top, we have our fuses. The nice thing is that right next to it, we have an overview where each fuse is recorded. How many A is it and what is it for? By the way, this is also one of the reasons why DOVRA says the vehicle comes in one configuration, always fully equipped, because this way everything remains the same and can be wonderfully labeled uniformly. Next to it, we have two switches, one for the main power and one for 12V, so I can turn everything off with one button. Next to it sits the router. We always have an internet antenna with us. You can see that it is not quite connected yet. But what you can see nicely here is that everything is done neatly. Each cable is individually labeled: Wi-Fi, LTE, LTE. The cables go to the antenna on the roof. You insert a SIM card into the router itself, which even has two SIM card slots. And the antenna on the roof then amplifies the existing mobile signal into the vehicle, but also outside. So I can move away a bit with my phone and still stay connected to the vehicle's Wi-Fi. Then we have the Multiplus underneath. This is a 3,000-watt inverter that ensures we are self-sufficient, even when we are not connected to shore power. 2001 everywhere at all 230V sockets in the vehicle also really have power. You might also hear it a bit. The fan is currently running. That is the case. When it is connected to power, it pumps a lot of electricity into the battery, and then it needs to be cooled. Next to it is one of the two lithium batteries. The second one is underneath. As mentioned, both are 200A, so a total of 400. Here below is the servo, which is the control center. All information from the devices runs through it and is then sent to the screen here. Thought was also put into this. I can take it out, so I don't have to twist myself in there, and it's a lot of fun to read exactly how full my battery is, how much it is currently charging, and how much my solar system is producing. All the information that I can read on it can also be accessed on my phone via the Victron app. This down here is the fuse for our sound system in the front, and from the sizing you can already tell that we have quite a powerful sound in the front. 2001, all the speakers are being replaced by DOVRA with dirty ones, and a subwoofer is also added. So that's it. And next to it sits the MPPT charge controller, also from Victron 50A. We have 400-watt solar system on the roof, so a lot can be pumped into the battery from that. Here at the back are our two batteries in the compartment. Right behind them sits our BMS, which is this blue middle box here. BMS stands for Battery Management System, and it is a special feature that it is completely separate here in the DOVRA, unlike most systems that are usually integrated into the battery. A completely separate BMS is basically the brain of the battery. It is simply much more powerful. On the left and right of it are two blue boxes, which are each labeled as distributors. One for all the current going into the battery management system and one for all the current going out. Above that, we have three large fuses. The fuse far right is for the shore power, the fuse in the middle is for the inverter, and the fuse on the left is for the things that only run when the shore power is connected. And only the heating runs when the shore power is connected, as well as our charger in the front.
Yes, the Multiplus ensures that when we are connected to shore power, our battery charges well. But of course, the batteries also charge while driving. And we have installed the 250A alternator from Mercedes here. And now comes a real special feature, because DOVRA does not use a charge booster, as it cannot provide as much power, but they use a diode instead. The diode is located behind here, in the box where the battery management system is also situated. And you can charge 100A into the battery when you only start the engine while stationary without driving. While driving, it goes up to 130A. To put that into perspective, if I drive for 2 hours in theory, I charge around 200A and have already completely filled one of my two batteries. So if I keep driving regularly with the vehicle, I am essentially self-sufficient indefinitely. Here on the left side, hidden under the bed, is the gas box. Just by looking at the closures, you can see that DOVRA is not a normal standard product. They are all aluminum closures. It clicks really tactilely. You can also see how solidly it locks. Inside here, we have the gas box pull-out. Just pull the pin up here at the bottom. Then I can comfortably pull it out and don't have to connect the bottles inside. They have space for two 11-kilo gas bottles. Of course, always with a duo control with gas filter, crash sensor, and up there ISEX, so that will also be heated. Yes, the finesse is really in the details here. The entire gas box is an aluminum unit. Important with gas is that it is vented downwards in case there is a leak so that the gas can escape from the vehicle. We have a hole here in our pullout for the gas to pass through, and then we can't see it now because it's directly above, but there is an outlet underneath that goes out below. So it doesn't fit one-to-one, but is slightly offset. This way, the cold can't easily creep in there. On the side of the gas box, we have another flap. Every storage space is fully utilized here. So you could hang your water hoses or power cables in here completely. And again, a nice closure there. Yes, now we finally start with the presentation of the vehicle, and we begin with the DOVRA, as it should be from the outside, because it really looks impressive from the outside. Don't be surprised, we are here in the DOVRA production hall. We are currently standing in front of the long one, the RIG X-750. However, we will also show some details on the short one, the 610, later. Basically, we always have a complete equipment, meaning all options we show are available for both models. The base vehicle from Mercedes comes in black, and DOVRA then wraps it afterwards, as we see it here at the back. A wrap is always applied in that color. M is a very high quality wrap. The color looks stylish, it is matte. And the advantage is that the paint underneath is simply protected, especially when we are out in the terrain and something scratches against it. In the worst case, the wrap gets scratched and not the paint. What you need to know about an M wrap is that not just any wrapper can handle it. There are certified wrappers for M. If there is ever damage to the M wrapping, it must be properly repaired by a certified M wrapper. For that, just contact us as your DOVRA dealer. We will consult with DOVRA and they will provide us with the address of the nearest M wrapper. They have a dense network across Europe, so no worries, you don't always have to go back to Sweden for that. Yes, what stands out immediately is that the vehicle has a continuous rock slider at the bottom, and you can see again that DOVRA is truly special in every detail. On one hand, the DOVRA logo is integrated at the back, meaning they develop all the exterior components themselves. They are designed and developed in-house and can be precisely tailored to their needs. This down here is solid carbon steel, so really robust. This means that when we are off-road, if we scrape past a rock, this part will be hit first before it affects the vehicle. 2001. Yes, at the same time, the rock slider also serves as an entry step. This way, we only lose a little ground clearance. We definitely need a step for this vehicle because the entry is already relatively high. Let me show you. This way I can very easily and comfortably get up there. Yes, we not only have attachments at the bottom of the vehicle, but we also have a roof rack on top. However, the one on top is not made of carbon steel, but of aluminum, for weight reasons. We want the vehicle to be as light as possible on top so that it doesn't sway too much. And to pack weight at the bottom. So at the bottom, we have the heavy, robust carbon steel, and on top, we have the lightweight aluminum. It only serves a supporting function and won't be impacted by any stones. Yes, we can see two parts here, one from the rock slider. When I lift it up, it is really a solid piece. Here is the roof rack, which is really nice and light. Here, you can also see the advantages of DOVRA developing and designing everything themselves. We have precisely fitting holes for the Vision X LEDs that go in the front, so they can easily adapt their attachments perfectly to their needs. These parts are manufactured by a company that also produces for the Swedish military. So here you can assume that this is really of the highest quality. In general, almost all parts that DOVRA uses come from a maximum 1-hour radius from the company here. So this can really be called regional production. It is also important to know that all screws that are added to the Mercedes base vehicle afterwards are approved by Mercedes.
This means they say, the mounting point is correct. The hole has been properly treated with rust protection so nothing happens later. The Mercedes warranty remains intact. Anyone who has perhaps dealt with this knows that such a thing is absolutely not easy to obtain from Mercedes. It's a confirmation of how high quality the vehicle is being built here. Yes, here on the turn signal you see the detail from DOVRA again. We have installed a turn signal protection with the DOVRA logo displayed. This part was also designed here and then given to a company in the region for production. Here we have our ladder access to the roof. I'll demonstrate it once. The nice thing is, up here on the roof, we have our solar panels, and they are walkable, so it's no problem at all to set up a camping chair up there and walk around on it. We have 400-watt solar panels on the roof. They are from NDS. Again, an important detail here is that they are not glued but mounted with a rail. DOVRA does not like to use glue, so here everything is secured in other ways whenever possible. And up here, we theoretically have a wonderful rooftop terrace on top. Yes, we will show the installation of the solar system here in detail. It is secured all around with these rails, so it does not need to be glued. What you can see nicely here at the back is that we have plates with holes in them. These are mounting points so that I can place dust boxes on the roof. Here on the passenger side, we have mounted the awning, and in the front area, we have all our Vision X LED lights facing forward, and of course also on the side of the roof rack, and at the back there, and here as well. Here at the ladder we have the attachment points. So here you could, for example, hook in a loop to tension a clothesline, whatever. So it is totally flexible to use just as you need it. Here we have the exhaust chimney from the ALD in the rear area, and down here we see the tires of the vehicle. We have the black Reno as the rim, and on it comes a 17-inch BF Goodrich tire, 2001. Here is the view of the vehicle from the back. We always have a spare wheel and a dust box mounted at the back. These are also mounted on the aluminum carrier plates to keep everything lightweight. The carrier plate is screwed onto the door hinges at the back, and the full warranty from Mercedes is also maintained here. On the rear door, on the passenger side, we have a large dust box. Here too, you can see the attention to detail and that DOVRA designs and develops everything themselves. We have this storage plate here at the back, over the door handle, and simply a cutout for the door handle. Most storage plates you usually get stopped right over the door handle. This way, we can have a larger box on top. It can simply be screwed into these holes here. If I don't need it, I take it off and attach a bike rack. So this is totally modular and adaptable to what you need at the moment. The dust box is also available in 2 other sizes, a bit smaller, so you could also adjust there. This system here is exactly the same as on the ladder or on the roof, so we can also attach all sorts of things here. For example, we have a tie-down option. This is especially practical later in the storage space. Here we also have tie-down eyes. We have a single eye, or we have a tension strap that can be attached there. The box at the back is made of plastic so that it is not too heavy. It also has proper closures on the side. And then, to give an additional idea of how much more big it is inside, always included with every DOVRA is a towing hitch. We can attach 2.8 tons to the small model, the RIG X-610. Let's break that down briefly. At the front, the vehicle has 4.1. The total towing weight is 6.9 tons, leaving 2.8 tons remaining, and that is exactly what the towing hitch is designed for. With the large RIG X, the towing hitch is allowed to pull up to 3 tons. However, this is limited by our total towing weight. That is 7 tons here. At the front, we are allowed 5.2, which means we have 1.8 tons of leeway in addition to the 7 tons. We can definitely attach that. If we are lighter at the front, we can add weight at the back. Yes, a nice detail is that we also have a bottle opener at the back of the towing hitch. I will demonstrate that here. Works perfectly. Yes, we are now at the rear axle of the long model, the RIG X. You can see right away that we have dual tires,
We need that because we have significantly more tonnage with the 5.2 tons. One more note about the rims. They are now also black Reno. It may be that in the end, for a vehicle that is registered in Germany, it looks a bit different. There is currently clarification with the TÜV about whether this will be approved in Germany. Yes, here at the back on the passenger side, we have the power connection where we can plug into shore power, and in front of it, the gas outlet. So here too, it is really maximally comfortable. If I want to cook on a gas grill, I don't have to lift my bottle out from the back, but can simply connect directly here. The awning is attached to the roof rack, and I can extend it very comfortably electrically. I can control the whole thing via my phone if I download the MBAC, the Mercedes-Benz Advanced Control app. So, we will stop this now. I can also turn the light on and off at the top of the awning with it. So all functions are nicely manageable via the phone. More on that later when we get to the topic of technology and wiring. The awning is, of course, a Thule awning, as befits a Swedish product. And you have to support it with the poles that are inside the awning rail as soon as you extend it further. Here at the back, we also have proper headlights. I can additionally switch them on using the buttons at the front in the cockpit. When I normally engage reverse gear, only the headlights that are part of the turn signal come on, the two down here and the two up there. So, I can activate a total of 4 additional reverse lights if I want to see more. A very helpful and comfortable option that comes with the Mercedes is the electric sliding door. I can operate it in 4 ways. Option number 1 is the key. Option number 2 is the button that is located here inside the door. Option number 3 is the button that is located up there. And option number 4 is located in the front of the driver's cabin in the middle of the cockpit. Yes, the seating group is truly a unique feature, at least so far. I wonder why no other manufacturer has come up with this idea yet. In a van, it is usually uncomfortable to sit. Here we can simply move the backrest over, and we immediately have a way to rest our arms and snuggle into the corner. Let me show you how it looks in its normal state. This cushion simply goes right back there. And that is basically the position I would usually have for driving. This is what the bench looks like in driving position, and it is very comfortable. On one hand, we have a deep seat surface, and our backrest is already curved. Some manufacturers of box vans have an adjustable back seat. DOVRA intentionally does not have that. On one hand, it is comfortable as it is. We don't need to change it. And on the other hand, a folding bench always takes up space and makes noise, and it is not as robust as a fixed bench. The vehicle is built for off-road use and is therefore designed for maximum reliability. Under the seat bench is the fresh water tank. It has 105 litres, which is quite substantial for a box van, and what is a really great detail is hidden right here. We have a strip here, and the cushion is cut in and slides in there, preventing our cushion from sliding forward. This certainly contributes significantly to the seating comfort here. In the seating area down here, we have another 230V socket, which is supplied by our multiplus inverter. So we always have power there. Above are USB-A and USB-C sockets. It is very comfortable to sit at this table. I can adjust it in such a way, completely around, and maybe a little closer to the wall. And that's special because I can even adjust its height. So we have now put the table in the highest position. Normally, one wouldn't be like this, but it clearly shows that it is height adjustable via the lever down there. Here, I also have something solid in my hand. It works like a ratchet. I have to press there to go back up. 2001. This is probably the comfortable dining position, and then you secure it in that position again. With the lever here on top, I can fix this axis, and underneath is another lever where I can fix this axis. So the table is really maximally adjustable. Here, here, and in height. So the table is now positioned the farthest out. I can also turn it around like this. Then it is closer to the wall. Or if I say I don't need the table, want to be able to walk through here easily, then I push it, like this. Then I simply push it completely against the wall. The seats are very comfortable. They are Agoti seats. They have nice side supports that push you back into the seat and also a large headrest at the top. Always included. As you can see well here on the side, are seat heating, lumbar support for the seating area, and of course lumbar support for the back area. Here at the bottom we can see this grid nicely again. Also hidden underneath are heating elements. What this part looks like in its raw state can also be seen in our chapter on heating.
Yes, when you look at the window here, you immediately see that something special has been done with DOVRA. And instead of a normal pleat to pull, we have a curtain that rolls down from the top. Everything is beautifully kept in a felt look. Underneath here, there is the mosquito net, which I simply clip on, and the blackout goes on top. When I clip all of this on, it closes beautifully. That is, of course, an advantage. It really closes cleanly. The second advantage is that it doesn't rattle like a normal roller blind. And the third advantage is that it is totally robust and durable. It doesn't break easily. It may take a few seconds longer to set up and take down, but it's definitely worth it. And when you look at it this way, it actually goes quickly when I set it up again. What you don't see at first glance is the frame that is hidden behind here. And it is also special, as this is again made from recycled PET, but this time with significantly greater strength. The nice thing about the material is that it is not organic, so if there should ever be a leak at the window, this material won't mold or rot. It is also so sturdy that I can really screw into it cleanly. Another nice detail about the mosquito net or this blackout is that the mosquito net can also be removed. You can see it here. For example, we simply have a zipper at the back. This means I could completely remove the mosquito net. When I am out in winter and know I only need the blackout, then I don't need to roll it up and down all the time. Yes, the rolled up blackouts and mosquito nets have a nice off-road look. They really look adventurous. The only place where it doesn't work is at the sliding door because we simply have too little space there. That's why DOVRA offers a blackout roller blind. That can be added later in the bag. As soon as you close the door in the evening, you button it over. There is intentionally only a blackout roller blind and no mosquito net because the mosquito net is clipped magnetically into the door here. Yes, paying close attention in the driver's cabin, you see no Remis roller blinds for blackout. Intentional blackout is done here with a magnetic curtain inside. Briefly, the reasons why there are no Remis roller blinds. They rattle, especially when we are off-road, and they take up valuable space at the side windows. That's why there are no Remis roller blinds. We also have enough space for our arms when sitting. For the side windows, it's really very simple. It is just quite easily and magnetically attached for the windshield. The blackout also works magnetically, and we need to use the sun visors for assistance. The metal rods are on the inside and serve for fixation. With the sun visors, we clip it in place, and then a little fine-tuning is required here. Here on the side are metal or magnets, and they then fit directly there. Now it actually fits quite well. The founders of DOVRA come from furniture construction, and accordingly, the furniture construction here in the vehicle is really of high quality. The flaps here extend down so I can reach behind there. That's where the lock is. The first thing that stands out is that the flap really stays under the ceiling, not at the 730 position like in many vehicles. So I can really access it properly here. The next thing that stands out is that I have really solid hinges here. And if you look in the back of the cabinet, it's all aluminum, which means the cabinet is lightweight but still very stable. We don't have aluminum up there. They intentionally use steel so that it is magnetic. And we have exactly the same felted down here, so I can nicely use the magnetic solutions from Silwi. What you can also see nicely back here is that we have holes, meaning warm air from the Alder flows up from below, goes up behind the cabinet, travels along here, comes out at the top, and circulates really nicely in the vehicle. Also nice is our backlighting, so we have illuminated both the inside of the cabinet and the outside, and overall, the vehicle simply has a truly Nordic design, totally stylish, yet cozy. You can also see the truly high-quality furniture construction in the kitchen, for example, here at the drawer. First of all, we have aluminum handles everywhere, no plastic. And when you look at the drawer on the side, you can see that the wood is really well joined together. All of this is completely made of oak. It is not completely made of oak at the front. There is also a laminate on it, but everything is extremely robust material. You can also tell by how the drawer operates. Let's talk about the lighting in the DOVRA. First, you can control it either via the display we have up there in front of the Mercedes, or through the app on our phone, or also quite classically via a switch. So that's really nice. Not everything is shifted to the display. There are also functions here, especially in the entrance area, perhaps in winter when you might come in with gloves. We currently have the far right button activated, meaning we are in the brightest light setting, 1000 scenario. Then there is scenario number 2, called comfort, which is simply a bit dimmed. It might be quite nice if you are sitting here in the evening, chatting and eating. Then there is night, where we only have these position lights on the floor and very soft backlighting on the cabinets. And then there is everything off. And with everything off, the light in the bathroom is also off, the reading light by the bed, so when you leave the vehicle, you press that and don't have to worry about any lights anymore. With the switch for everything off, it really only concerns the lights. The sockets and so on still have power. We are making it bright again so that we can see something here. We also have small reading lights above the driver's cabin, which I simply turn on and off here using the switch. Each reading lamp still has a USB-A socket attached. We also have the same ones twice more at the bed. Yes, since we are already nicely discussing light and design, a quick word about the material here on the wall. So the entire wall is covered with a fabric that goes over the insulation. It looks a bit like felt, but it is fabric. We also have fabric covering on the ceiling, and instead of a cheap white plastic covering, we have an aluminum covering here. The DOVRA logo is also embossed there. Nice framing for the lamps. Overall, it looks really high quality. Use sand, a great feature of DOVRA. And also a big plus in comfort in operation is that we manage everything through a panel here. By everything, I mean the water pump, the awning, the refrigerator, the heating. I can really control everything centrally through this one panel. By the way, it is also located at the front in the M books, so I can control exactly the same functions in the driver's cabin as well, and I can also control it on my phone via the Mercedes app. If we take a look inside here, we always have an overview of all our functions on the start screen. The functions are also summarized individually here. So, under climate control, I would find everything related to climate, heating, and temperature. Regarding water, I find all individual functions summarized under water. For hot water, I could decide here, for example, 40 or 60 degrees. I could say, please open the grey water valve. I can check exactly how full my fresh water is in percentage, so it's not just a rough estimate, like with many, half a quarter can be completely full, but really precise to the percentage. At this point, an important note about the heating, I will briefly jump on that. Specifically, when I go to heating here, I access the individual settings. First of all, if you want to use the Webasto diesel heater, you turn it on using a single switch at the front of the Mercedes cockpit. This is how the Webasto heater is activated. What is important when using the Webasto diesel heater is that the old pump at the back is running, because only then does the fluid circulate in the system and the heat can be transported further. However, the ALDE pump only runs when the ALDE heater is on. Now, I don't want to heat with gas when I use my Webasto diesel heater. Now you can easily bypass this by simply plugging into 200 volts and having no external power. This means the pump turns on, but the heater has no energy to heat. So we would do it just like this. Electrically, 220V is on, off is this limitation. If you have shore power, you could limit how many watts it draws at maximum. I can always see that the heater is on up here. This is my status bar. In this case, only the old pump would be on, and the heat would come from the Webasto diesel heater. Exactly. We will turn the heater off again now, then the panel or this indicator up in the status bar will also go off. Here I could also manage the functions of the vehicle. I could check if it is unlocked or if it is a locked vehicle. I can decide whether my display should always be on or not, or switch to night mode. So it has many settings. Everything is centralized in one place. In the horse light, we have the various different light scenarios that can all be controlled via the switches.
For example, here again, comfort, but we are making it bright again. As mentioned, this is a dual function. We can also do it completely manually via the switches. I can dim the ceiling lighting here in brightness, so it will either get darker or brighter. The exact same thing applies to the kitchen, so here I can dim individual lights and also illuminate the kitchen for ambiance. Under the tab My Devices, the refrigerator, awning, and inverter are summarized. If I go to edit here, I can even change the settings for the refrigerator. So either performance, which is the normal mode, silent would be, for example, a compressor refrigerator at night, which might start to hum when it cools, or boost if I want to cool down extremely quickly. And here I can generally just set the cooling level. Exactly these things can also be set on the display, and the last setting always overrides the previous one. I can extend and retract the awning here, and I can comfortably turn the inverter on and off here. If I turn it on here now, the inverter symbol appears at the top, bow. I could go to any socket in the vehicle. I have 200 volts, and when I no longer need it, I turn it off because it does draw a bit of standby power. Yes, a very comfortable option here is to extend the awning, and it is done electrically. It is very comfortable when I control everything via my phone. Sitting outside, the sun changes, and I can simply extend or retract the awning a bit more using my phone. You can also control the outdoor lighting via the display, which is located directly in the awning rail. Yes, in such details, you can see that great value is placed on every detail. At DOVRA, we have various QR codes here stuck to the spot in the vehicle. Gas is at the back, in the gas compartment. When you scan it, you go directly to the part of the manual where this component is explained. In general, the user manual is digital, for two reasons. You can't lose it, you always have it with you on your phone, and it always has the most up-to-date information. Things can change, after all. Yes, what at first glance looks like a tangle of cables is the reason we can control everything in the DOVRA via a control panel, the lights, the water pump, and so on. Here, pre-made cable sets come in, or each cable is really labeled. Indirect left, so each has its pre-made place, and everything is fed into the Mercedes system. In addition to the comfortable operation, a nice side effect is that we have clean plug connections. Here we have, for example, a light strip, which is simply clipped on. There is no need to strip any cables and connect them together. This is a clean plug connection. The cable set here is for the lights around, and you can see a way that the plug fits perfectly in there. This here is another cable set for the lights. And this thick cable here on the right is the cable that goes from the alternator to our battery at the back. We charge with the 250A alternator up to 130A directly into the battery while driving. So these are large currents flowing, and for that, you need correspondingly thick cables. Let's move on to the Mercedes base vehicle. It comes with a comprehensive equipment package featuring 190 HP automatic transmission and an all-encompassing assistance system, e.g. with adaptive cruise control, emergency brake assist, lane keeping assist, and whatever else is available. So all the assistance systems that Mercedes offers. We have a leather steering wheel through which we can nicely control everything here.
Also included is the large M books with 10.5 inches. What is absolutely special about DOVRA is that we can control all functions of the motorhome setup at the back, such as heating, refrigerator, and awning, through this, which also means that we can control everything via our app. However, it is important to know that the app connects to the vehicle via Bluetooth. So I can control it via the app within the vicinity of the vehicle, but not if I am skiing and want to turn on the heating. Yes, what is also nice is that we have a camera included. I'll show that now. Here we have a nice overhead view of the vehicle and also the rear view camera, so we are safe on the road. What DOVRA changed from the factory Mercedes is the sound system. We have really installed a high-end sound system here. All the speakers from Mercedes have been replaced with an Alpine speaker system, which you can see up front, for example. The speakers installed in the doors have also been replaced. And very importantly, a subwoofer has been installed, which is located in the double floor by the table and can be controlled from here. So you can really enjoy listening to music here. Yes, we are in the bathroom of the DOVRA. Here we have a very stylish backlit mirror, just like you would know from the bathroom at home, 2001. Above that, we have the fan. It's very important in the bathroom to get the moisture out of here because we don't have a window in here. It has 2 levels, one for light use and one for really full extraction. Up there, we have another support, and on the other side is the second one, so a clothes rod can be slid across, allowing you to wonderfully dry clothes. We have an ALDA heating booster below, but I will explain that later. 2001. Our sink here is made of mineral composite. It's nice that we have a shelf space here as well. The sink itself is compact but usable. Here on the side, we pull out the shower head. We don't have a shower curtain here. All the wood inside is treated to be waterproof. The edges are laser welded, so no water can penetrate there either. As a toilet, we always have a glissana installed in the DOVRA. It is a vacuum toilet from 2001. Currently, it is turned to the side, which gives us maximum space here for showering. When you need to use the toilet, you turn into position. The control panel for the glissana is located here on the wall. Inside the bathroom, we have no cabinets because we need all the space. But what's cleverly solved is that we have hooks at the top of the door where we can hang our storage utensil silo. For showering, you simply take it out and hang it on the wall behind the bed. We have a toiletry bag for 2 people here. I can simply take it away and could also go to the shower areas, somewhere at the campsite with it. Here we have a holder for toilet paper and a holder for the toothbrush cup. You can even lock the bathroom door in the DOVRA. This is open. This is closed. When I close the door, we can see right away that you can't hear anything when it rattles. We have nice sealing lips here. They are important not only to prevent water from coming out while showering, but also to ensure that we have no noise during driving. There are 3 places for the storage utensil in the bathroom. In the bathroom itself on the outside door of the bathroom, or here at the back of the bed. Otherwise, you can also simply use the hooks as coat hooks. Yes, here in the living area is the only air outlet for the heating. We actually have an old heating system, a hot water heating system installed. This is for the bathroom. The heater is located right here. However, there is a booster behind it. This means I can really blow warm air in down here, hang my wet rain jackets on the clothes rack above, turn on the fan, and then it becomes a proper drying cabin inside where you turn on the ALDA heating booster. I'll show that now. I can turn on the booster for the bathroom here. There is the small fan setting and the large fan setting. You can also see that the heating is really right here. Below here is literally the switch for the heating of the wastewater valve. The wastewater tank is automatically heated, and here is also the control panel from ALDA. We don't actually need this because we can set everything from the display above the door at the front. Yes, since we have the compartment open so conveniently, we will also show this component here. This is an expansion tank, which ensures that we have a constant, even water pressure. We have a very powerful pressurized water pump on board. And otherwise, it can happen that the water flow pulses. If we have such an expansion tank in place, we can stop the pulsing. Also located in this compartment are our shut-off valves for gas. We have 3 of them, and we need to be able to turn off or disconnect each device that runs on gas individually. 1 for the stove, 1 for the heating, 1 for the refrigerator. Down there is also our frost protection boiler valve from the ALDA heating system. In winter, when we are not using the vehicle, it is important that we really drain all the water here. It automatically opens as soon as the temperature falls below 5 degrees here. However, if you want to be sure, you can also open it here. And also for winter, we have the drain valve for the cold water line and the drain valve for the hot water line. In the kitchen, the 2 layouts differ, the small and the large. We will start now with the small one, the 610. In every kitchen at DOVRA, we always have a stainless steel countertop. This is really something special, meaning I can place hot items here without any problems, I can easily clean it, and it is an extremely robust, durable countertop. Yes, as we are used to from DOVRA, we have aluminum fittings everywhere here, no plastic. And what is also nice is that we have a strainer here, like the one you know from your sink at home. Again, no plastic, but when I put it in there and press down, it is really tight. We have drawers everywhere underneath here. The boxes themselves are made of solid oak, completely interlocked. Again, robust aluminum locks here. It is really secure. not hinges, but locks. Down there also. Here at the front, we really have the entire side full of drawers. The nice thing is that you can also access it quite well from the outside. So when the door is open, I don't even have to walk into my motorhome. We have a compressor refrigerator here. It has 70 liters in the small one, in the 610 in the small kitchen. The compressor refrigerator runs entirely on the battery, and we are well equipped with 400 amp hours of lithium. It can be opened from both sides. So if you're lying in bed and don't want to get out to get your drink, you can also take it out this way. Behind here we have more drawers, so we really have an extremely large amount of storage space for a van. As always, a relatively small kitchen. We have a gas stove here, and again, it's nice that it's raised, meaning I can really fit large pots and pans underneath. DOVRA has also spared no effort there. This is a gas stove from Thetford, which is usually installed lengthwise. However, DOVRA wants to install it crosswise, so they added their own control panel here to ensure it works properly with the buttons, and of course is nicely branded. Of course, a proper spice rack belongs in every kitchen. We can store spices here or nicely use the magnetic function here. For this, special care was taken. We actually have aluminum everywhere in the cabinets for weight reasons. However, steel plates have been installed everywhere down here so that we can utilize the magnetic function. We have exactly the same thing up here in the upper cabinets, 2001. Again, there is a magnetic function up here, allowing me to hang my glasses beautifully. There are also magnetic plates so that they don't slide during travel. And the nice thing is, the flap really stays up here directly under the ceiling, so I can admire it properly. It doesn't get in my way. 7:30 a.m. We are now in the kitchen of the RIG X-750, and you can immediately see that it is, of course, significantly larger, 2001. Here it ends with the 610. The whole thing continues back here. So we have a gigantic countertop, and one must always keep in mind that you are in a box van. Underneath, everything is nicely filled with even more storage space. So here we really have drawers everywhere in this area. In the back, there will be a large cabinet designed to accommodate, for example, a microwave or an oven, which is not supplied by DOVRA. Such an item could then be retrofitted by us at our workshop from Mimobile. Here below is also another flap, because the wheel arch comes here. What you can see nicely here is that it is really well insulated. Yes, the refrigerator in the long version is no longer located under the kitchen countertop, but over here, it has a capacity of 157 liters, so it is really gigantic. Of course, it can also be opened from both sides here. Above, we also have another space, simply an extremely deep storage compartment. Down here. So every space is really utilized. And what is of course absolutely great is that this is always undoubtedly the key point in every campervan wardrobe. We have a very large one here. At the back you can see the expansion tank of the Alder heating system. A shelf will be placed in front of it, which is not yet in this vehicle during production. And down there again, with intermediate shelves. Above here we have our upper cabinets again, and in the long kitchen another one is simply added at the back, so we really have a lot of space. Yes, let's move on to the bed area. Here, the two vehicles differ. We are now in the DOVRA RIG X, in the shorter version with the transverse bed at the back. The transverse bed is 1.45 mm wide on the wider side, and 1.97 mm long. We have really maximized the length here with the flares and the widenings on the sides. Here at the foot area, it gets a bit narrower. On the head side, that is, on the driver's side, there is intentionally no cabinet so that you don't hit your head when sitting up. Instead, there are storage pockets for a phone and a book. It's also nice that we have power outlets right next to it. Again, all three variants, USB-A, USB-C, and 230V. It works when we turn on our inverter. Down here we have reading lights. There is also a USB-A outlet on the side. So we are really well equipped. I can adjust it very comfortably. And what's also nice is that we really have a window in the head area. Fresh air from the side, no problem. We can definitely also ventilate from above. Up in the ceiling, we have the fan, which operates electrically. As soon as it is activated, the fan inside turns on. I can set it to pull air from inside to outside or from outside to inside. The fan can be easily controlled via the remote. Behind the panel here sits the expansion tank of the Alder Heating System 2001. Again, a nice detail. It is specially cut out so that I can see whether my fluid is at minimum or maximum. And if I need to react, if you want to refill something here, just loosen 4 screws and you can access the tank directly behind. The tube up there is the venting hose. In the foot area of the bed, we have a nice large wardrobe again. Here too, exactly the same. We really have the magnetic function everywhere up there, and also down here. You might not hang spices here, but it's definitely super practical. Of course, we also have light switches by the bed. I'll show that here. For example, here is comfort. Then, it becomes quite pleasant, or the night function suitable for the bed, or completely off. Good night. Above this is the temperature sensor for the indoor temperature. We have now set up the bed, so we can also use the loading area here at the back for taller items. 2001, so this is also easily adjustable here. Under the bed we have cabinets, the heating is located underneath here at the front, and the gas box is at the back. However, this compartment can also be opened, so we still have a little space there. 2 hooks will be added here, which are not yet attached in the vehicle. Here at the front is our technical compartment with the entire battery and so on. You can also tell by this, here we don't have a regular lock but rather a different one, for which there is a special key to open it. The reason is that you simply don't want children to play around here, open the compartment and touch the fuses. That's why it is secured with this coin lock. Johan, the founder of DOVRA, told me that they have customers who place a mattress for their child in the back here a little. They think it's great to sleep down here. And you can be sure that a child won't reach such a compartment. By the way, we have that again here at the front by the heating. Here at the back on the passenger side, we actually have a bit more storage space. There is our BMS, our battery management system, and up here you can store things wonderfully. And we even have another power outlet that is connected to the inverter. We also have nice tie-down points everywhere in the back, both at the top and bottom on each side. We can hang exactly the same elements here as we can on the roof storage panels, on the ladder, and on the rear storage panels. Before I take this apart, let me show something else. We have nice felt elements glued everywhere so that nothing can make noise during the drive. Yes, taking the bed apart is really easy. I just pull on this part up here, and then it comes off. I fold this down. Here we see that we have really nice coil springs everywhere. The grey ones, by the way, have a bit more firmness, while the white ones are a bit softer. I simply roll the mattress back, and then this part of the mattress attaches at the back. In 2001, smooth it with the side to completely fill the gap to the rear door. Basically, the mattress here at the front has a zipper just like this one, so if you want to wash the cover, I just unzip it. In the rear door itself, we also have storage space here, perfect for stowing books and so on. It is simply secured with rubber bands. This here is the only area where we have only 40mm of insulation. Only should really be in quotation marks because even 40mm of insulation in the rear door is already really good. The whole thing is covered here with a special cover that is also water repellent. So if I have my doors open here in bad weather, it doesn't matter. The material can withstand it. The outdoor shower part is also located back here. You can see that nothing is just installed here, but only the best of the best is really used. So it has really strong pressure. Up here is the faucet for hot and cold. And I can set it here, whether I want to separate the center vertically. So here I can adjust different shower levels. This huge sleeping area we have at the back in the RIG X-750, so in the long version, we have longitudinal beds, which is already evident from how far I am from the camera. They are 2 meters long and 1.65 meters wide, so a huge sleeping area. Unlike the short version with a transverse bed, we don't have flares on the side here. The bed is 1.65 meters wide, which is absolutely sufficient, so we can skip the flares on the side. However, we have windows on both sides here, both on the driver's side and on the camping side, because the sliding door here at the front has the space to walk back, and thus does not collide with the window here at the back. Because we have a longer bed, we naturally also have more storage cabinets above the bed at the back, just like with the transverse bed. And here at the front, an open storage cabinet will be added. Exactly the same on this side here. Here is the storage cabinet, the open one a bit shorter, and for that we have an entire compartment above the large kitchen countertop. So here you really sleep quite airy. Windows on the left and right, and also the fan above in the ceiling. Of course, our storage space under the bed is also illuminated. For that, we have a switch here. The light automatically turns off after a certain time. When I stand at the front of the bed, I simply turn it on via the large control display of the M-Bug. That is, the M-Bug above the kitchen. The storage space down here can be enlarged just like with the short one. We have the trolley system here, which I can fold to the side and then also store raw items back here.
Yes, indeed, that was a comprehensive load of information about DOVRA. If you definitely want to see and touch it live, the short DOVRA RIG X is coming to our station in Remschalden in November. The long one will arrive later this year. When exactly, we will keep you updated on our website or here on the YouTube channel. It's best to subscribe. The next major event coming up is the CMT in Stuttgart, the Caravan, Motor and Tourism Fair. It starts on January 18th, 2025. DOVRA will not have a booth at the fair, but we are only half an hour away from the fair in Stuttgart, which means we will already have both models at our station by that time, and we will essentially do an after CMT. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. you can simply book an appointment with us and receive detailed advice about DOVRA. We will kick off the entire event on the first Saturday, January 18th, with a big event. Johan, indeed one of the founders of DOVRA, will come to our station, speak and answer all your questions. If anyone needs more additional information right now, I can recommend our interview video. With Johan, we were really able to ask him in very great detail about all topics related to DOVRA. But now it's time to go. I need to catch my flight back to Germany and look forward to welcoming you to our home in Remschalden.
Before our actual credits roll, here are a few important notes. We are a German trader and have our videos translated by AI. We ourselves speak the languages German and English and have an employee who also speaks Italian. We have experience in exporting both within and outside the EU. We are located near Stuttgart. A direct S-Bahn train goes from Stuttgart Airport to our place. Get off, walk for 3 minutes and you'll reach our station.
Yes, and currently we would be highly pleased if we have managed to generate your interest and you would like to set up a meeting with us. You can find us directly on the B29 between Fellbach and Schorndorf, a 15-minute drive away from the Stuttgart Stadium.
You can find all the vehicles not only online, but also all of them in our Completo exhibition on site.
And Completo means all furniture decors, all upholstery, all floor plans, in short, all yours, all Carmen, and all now new Rhön Camper.
The information about which vehicles are available on site, in what equipment and from when, can be found on our Completo website, which is also linked below.
And then a very special specialty of Memobile is the sale of the large rental fleet at the end of the season, and also during the season under the brand name Early Bird. The Early Bird catches the worm. Also, you can order a custom used car from us. He must be able to be delivered in time for the rental season so that he can be delivered at the end of the season.
By the way, when it comes to renting, at Mimobile we not only sell the motorhome, but we also offer real service from start to finish. And first of all, let's take a look at Mama in the rental department.
We possess more than 50 vehicles for rent, brand new models with a variety of layouts introduced every year. The chances are very good that you can rent your desired vehicle, which you are interested in buying, from us first. The vehicles are all workshop.
Here in our technology course, I will advise you on the topics of autonomy, lithium, inverters, solar and fuel cells. On the subject of multimedia, SAT, TV, navigation systems and mobile internet. Regarding plumbing, water treatment, pump tech, dry and separating toilets. Moreover, I suggest on chassis tech, load carriers, trailer hitch, ideally on display items in our exhibition. Now we continue to the workshop.
Moment, there's one more quick stop. Our workshop is located at our new location in Bräuningsweiler.
Build everything you have chosen in Björn's technology course. We'd be glad to assist. We not only do that, but also everything else that comes up around the motorhome will be fixed with us. We offer this service not only for Euro and Karmann, but also for all other brands.
Yes, that was the presentation in Fast Forward. You can find detailed information about Mi Mobile in our kickoff video 2024. Link below in the description.